The We Are Wakefield podcast is brought to you in partnership with Podmatic. Welcome to the We Are Wakefield podcast. I'm Claire Sutherley, Managing Director of We Are Wakefield. For those of you who may be tuning in who've not tuned in before, the purpose of We Are Wakefield is to connect local businesses, charities, education providers and cultural organisations to work together for the growth of the Wakefield District. So it's very much our focus to support our residents, our businesses, our charities. And with me today, I have some very special guests. I have our wonderful Mayor of Wakefield, Cllr Maureen Tennant-King. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you.
We have Chief Executive of Age UK Wakefield District, Paula Bee.
Thank you.
And Training and Business Development Officer for Wakefield. I've got it wrong, haven't I?
Yes.
And yeah, I thought I was doing well. Citizens Advice Wakefield District.
That's right.
Sarah Mitchell, welcome.
Thank you.
And we want to talk today about something we've not really touched on the podcast before. It's been quite business based up to this point, so it's really great to welcome our mayor to talk about your role, Maureen, but also two of our amazing member charities that do so much for the residents of the Wakefield District. So I'm going to come to you first, Maureen. I'm sorry, but I do normally work this way around. So just tell us a little bit about you, Maureen Tennant-King, councillor, and your role as mayor. What does that entail?
Thank you, Claire. Yes, my name's Maureen Tennant-King. I'm from Featherstone. I've lived there all my life. I've still got family members who live there. I've been a member of Featherstone Town Council since 1999 and I've actually been Mayor of Featherstone for 3 times, supporting different charities. And then in 2016, I became elected member at Wakefield. And in 2024, I became the Deputy Mayor of Wakefield, and in May 2025, I became the Mayor of Wakefield. Being the Mayor, you get to choose charities that you want to support in your mayoral year. So I chose, I had a look round and thought, you know, I'll choose something what hadn't been chosen before. So I'm a trustee at Wakefield District Site Aid. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was a council representative on that board. So that's one of my chosen charities. Yeah. And then I chose Wakefield and District Down Syndrome Support Group. I have quite a lot of friends who have not only young children, but adult children as well, who have Down syndrome. So I thought that would be another nice charity to support.
Yeah, 2 amazing charities and organisations that do so much.
Absolutely. And you get to do a lot of fun charity fundraising. We did the app sale down the Wakefield Cathedral spire. Unfortunately, the day that it was supposed to happen was the day it was Storm Amy.
Oh dear.
So we had to cancel it and rearrange it for 3 weeks later. And that meant that some people who said that they could do it, including our CEO at Wakefield Council, Tony Reeve, he then couldn't do it on the second time, plus a few more people. But we still managed to raise over £3,500 on that day towards a charity. We've got some curry nights coming up. I've got a friend of my son's. They're doing a hike. I think it's up Penyghent, on the round about the 20th, 21st of December. So hopefully we're looking for sponsors for that. But also I go round to different places, and sometimes they'll say, "Can we give you some money towards your charities?" Which is also so welcome. I think I'd rather have that than probably some flowers or something.
Yeah.
Because I know then it's going to a nice. Some nice charities, a nice cause. Not that I don't like the flowers, because I do. And I'm
so let's have both then. Let's have the flowers and the donations.
Yeah,
Is that what we said? Right, okay.
Yeah, and you also... I've opened quite a few food establishments around the area, and it's been nice because it were food from different parts of the world. So that were nice, and new businesses not only coming into Wakefield, but there were one in Normanton, one in Pontefract.
Yeah.
So and you meet lots of interesting people. And get to see some lovely things. I've been to more pantomimes and shows and everything else. At the moment, it's light switch on. I'm going to. I like the school visits, and when the children come to see me in my mayor's parlour, and we can talk to the children and. They ask you some delightful questions.
I bet they do. Go on then. Give us some examples of some questions you've been asked by the kids.
Do I wear a tiara?
Right, and do you?
Only on certain occasions, if I'm in fancy dress.
All right, okay. I thought maybe Sundays.
Yeah.
On,
A crown. Do I wear a crown? Do I live in a castle?
Right.
That's one, but I don't at all.
I've not noticed one in Featherstone on my travels around there.
Just a little 2 up, 2 down tennis house.
Okay.
And then one little boy asked me if my husband wore pyjamas in bed. I don't know where that one will go in.
Right, okay. And did Terry answer that? Oh, right, okay.
I just said yes.
Yeah, and I have actually heard you mention this before, and I did clarify that with Terry.
You did,
and he says only at the caravan.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Yeah. That's good. I'm glad we've cleared that up. Brilliant. So a lot of people don't realise that the amazing work that you do in your year as mayor, because it's just a year, isn't it, that you get as mayor of Wakefield?
It is just a year. When you first become deputy mayor, you have a photo shoot with the mayor before. So I went with Darren Byford.
Yes, so we all know him well at We Are Wakefield.
And it also happened that day. It happened to be my birthday. And we went into the town hall, and Darren was in his red robes, and I had the purple robes of the deputy mayor. And we saw all these cameras and lights down at the end of the corridor, and we wondered what were going on. And when we got closer, it was John Sim and Philip Glenister.
Oh.
And they were doing filming round Wakefield.
Right, okay.
So we had to be sworn to secrecy, and they came in the mayor's parlour, and we showed them the robes and the chains and everything, and they asked questions, and I actually got a birthday kiss off them both.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I couldn't put it on. I couldn't put it on social media because we were embargoed. We couldn't.
We'll just trust that actually happened.
It did. I did put it on after it was for the programme where he was looking at his ancestry.
Oh, right.
I can't remember the name.
Who do you think you are?
It was similar, something like that.
Yeah.
And when it all come out, John Sim's father's family were actually from Featherstone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it made it doubly interesting,
Yeah.
So once that went out in the October, then we could put his photos out, myself and Darren on social media.
Amazing.
So then when I was made we went for the mayor's photo shoot. It was the day after my birthday. So, no, the day before my birthday, sorry. So, I got all the photos sent to me. So I have a memory box.
Right, okay.
So I put everything where I go throughout the district, and if it's a programme, even a name tab and anything like that goes into a memory box.
Oh, that's brilliant, because you'll have so much to look back on in May when you hand those chains over.
and I also I get them free prints, and I
Right.
send for them. So
Yeah.
I've started putting them in box as well.
And that's nice to have something tangible in it, because in a digital world that we live in now, we don't tend to do that anymore,
No,
do we?
it
It's really nice that you're doing that.
It gets lost. And also, like, my husband Terry is my consort, but what I tend to do is I've also asked people who are my close friends, they've joined me as being mayoress of the occasion,
Yeah.
or consort of the occasion. I've chosen my family, I've chosen people who are connected to other charities and things. So yeah, I like to involve them all.
And what a great experience for them. It's
Yeah.
a sort of once in a lifetime chance, isn't it?
Exactly.
To get involved like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So thank you. We'll come back to you, Maureen.
Thank you.
So I'm going to move around to Paula. So Chief Exec of Age UK Wakefield District. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you came into this role.
Okay, so I originally trained as a physiotherapist several lifetimes ago, and that set up a real interest in me I ended up focusing really on working with older people at that stage, and ran a physio department in a day centre attached to a hospital a long time back, and then from there migrated through. I worked in the church for a period of time, and then in community, and then came into this role nearly 20 years ago now. Right, actually.
Wow.
So yes, so that's how I came to be here. And so there's been a lifelong interest in working with older people in various different places. It was a thread that was running through my life without me really realising that it was there, until I applied for the role and I realised actually, yeah, there's a continuum here. And then while I've been in this role, it's nowhere near as interesting as your role. I don't get to do all those kind of stuff. I've had loads of opportunities actually, and it's been really fantastic, and worked with some amazing people.
Yeah.
And then we are independent local charity, but we're linked up with all the other age UKs in the country, including the national partner. And for a number of years, I've had a role which has been working with all the national partners. I've chaired the Age England Association, so I've had lots of opportunities to do different things, and that's enabled me to experience a richness in the Age UK world and help bring it back into Wakefield District. So a lot of the things that we do now are because we've gone out, found out about other things, and been able to see how we can transfer them to Wakefield.
Yeah.
And so the organisation now, originally when I joined it, was quite small. We had 17 staff and about 30 volunteers, and we've got 350 volunteers today, and around 150 staff at any one moment in time. And we take 10,000 referrals a year from older people. So we're quite busy, but really my role is one of many. That's the point. And we've all got distinct and different things to do in the organisation. And I just happen to have the role of Chief Exec, which I enjoy enormously. I work with some fantastic people who work really hard during the day with the individuals that come to us for support. That's in a variety of different ways, which we might talk about later. But then also, they also give their time and support to other activities beyond their working lives as well. So I've always said that generosity really sits at the heart of our organisation. And although we deliver lots of paid contracts, it's the generous spirit of the people who are part of the organisation that makes everything happen. And certainly our 350 volunteers contributing a huge amount on an annual basis are what keep us moving.
Yeah, absolutely. Forwards. And you find that in a lot of the charities that I come across is, whilst they may not be volunteer led, they could not function without that volunteer support within the organisation.
Absolutely. They make an enormous contribution to the organisation. We had a team out. There was a team. They came together quite independently, fantastic, through our volunteer coordinator, volunteer manager. But that team this week were out running in the Leeds Abbey Dash and have raised nearly £1,000. We've got people who are going to be attending events through this December period, coming in to help with all of those things. And our volunteer befrienders are going out every single week, meeting with individuals and giving their time. It's just fantastic.
It is. It's really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we'll come back to the support that you offer and how people can can get that support if it's needed, or if they know someone who may
sure.
need your support. So
Yeah.
Sarah, we'll move round to you. So Citizens Advice Wakefield District, we all know of the Citizens Advice Bureau, as we used to call it. Go to Citizens Advice if you need anything.
Yeah, if you don't know where else to go there.
Yeah, and we're also familiar with that, aren't we? But
Yeah.
probably don't know the actual functions of the organisation, what support they provide. But let's talk about you first.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about Sarah Mitchell, how you came into this role and what your role entails within the organisation.
Sure. So my background is employment. So previously in a former life, I worked for a trade union, and I worked there for 15 years. First of all in learning and development, and then in employment relations as a regional officer. And I think, I suppose, a bit like you, where there's a thread that's running through your kind of working life. I think for me, it's always been about helping others, but also getting them to help themselves as well. At the heart of it, trade unionism is about being able to get somewhere collectively that you can't get on your own. So I guess for me, that's always been an interest of mine and a passion of mine. When I left the union, I'm going to say 2017, I worked on a contract for Macmillan Cancer Support, basically delivering support and advice on employment rights to people who were affected by cancer, either having a diagnosis themselves or being closely involved with somebody that did have a cancer diagnosis. And that was just a wonderful role. I met so many fabulous people. But again, it's kind of also quite sad to see the challenges that people are facing in the workplace that maybe you wouldn't expect in those circumstances. So when that contract ended, that's when I took up the role at Citizens Advice. And at the time I was purely working in recruitment and training of new volunteers. And then more recently we've done some work initially funded through some national money to kind of increase the presence, I guess, of our charity locally. Again, it's a similar setup to, I think, Age UK, in that we are independent local charities.
So I don't think a lot of people realise that Citizens Advice is actually a charity.
You're quite right. And everywhere I go, when I talk to people, so many people go to me, I thought you were part of council. And I'm like, no. So we are independent individual charities. Each local office is its own charity. It's a membership organisation, so we're members of the National Citizens Advice Service, and they provide like the support services, the national website, all the stuff, that the expert advice that goes on to that. But in terms of how we're run, we are an independent local charity. We are very much led by our volunteers. We cannot deliver the work that we do without it. So most people who contact our service initially will speak to a volunteer to start with, because they have client-facing roles, and they're normally the first point of contact. So if you come into King Street to see us, the first person you're going to speak to probably is going to be a volunteer on reception. And then if you go and chat to somebody for some initial information, again, they're likely to be a volunteer. So the opportunities that we offer for volunteering are really highly skilled stuff. And we have around about 45 active volunteers at the moment and around about 25 paid staff. We deal with about 10,000 Wakefield residents every year, and they come to us with a variety of different issues, which I'm guessing we'll probably talk a little bit about later. But yeah, we are a totally independent charity. And you're right, people just don't realise that. So when we're going out and about raising awareness and trying to raise some money, that's part of the conversation that we're having with people, individuals and businesses.
Yeah. So how do people who need your support, how do they present themselves to you? Is it Are they referred by another organisation, for example, or do they seek you out independently? How would you say that they actually get to you when they need your support?
There's a bit of both, to be honest. We have very limited referral in pathways. For example, we do have some through Step Up, but
which is part of the council, isn't it?
It's their employability service. Yeah, absolutely. But the reason that we have very limited referral in pathways is because somebody's got to manage that, and that takes resource, as you will know. So mainly if people contact another organisation and then want to contact us, it'll be a signposting situation. But to be honest, most people contact us just from themselves. It's exactly as you started this conversation at the top, which is, if you don't know who to call, it's not Ghostbusters, is it? It's Citizens Advice. That's you just come here when you don't know where else to go. What we've done a lot recently, it was kind of happening pre-COVID, but certainly during COVID and beyond, with the support of Wakefield Council and the communities, the member for communities at the time, another Maureen coming. So what we kind of did through that period was we were looking to place our services more directly into local communities, because obviously at the time people couldn't come into Wakefield. You were not kind of coming in droves, you weren't doing public transport, you could have these distances and all that. So as part of that, what we did, we worked with council to situate our services in Help at the Hubs, which is like community venues that's got a number of different support services in there, and also just within local community centres and other community venues. And that has been so successful that our outreach model has just grown from strength to strength. So we've got over 20 outreach venues across the whole of the district at the moment. They are all staffed by paid staff, they're not volunteers, and that's due to like lone working and remote supervision and that kind of operational stuff. But it's a model that's worked really well, because I think it puts us at the heart of communities, and particularly at the moment where we've got communities that are facing extra challenges, cost of living crisis, again, I think we're going to come on to that. That's where people can access us. But I mean, we're still on King Street. We've been on King Street. Oh, well, we won't remember how long we've been on King Street. We're far
too young for
but,
that, Sarah.
you know, but some people will remember how long it's been on King Street, and it's donkey's years, basically, and we're still there. But the most popular channel for us is Advice Line. So it's a free call number. People will ring in, and again, it's usually a volunteer. It's going to pick up the phone and have a conversation with somebody and find out the best way that we can help them.
Amazing. Okay. Sorry, Maureen.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I can vouch what Sarah's saying about being in communities. At Featherstone, our town council actually pay for one of your staff to come in on a Tuesday at our community centre. And when they first started coming, we only had a couple of people coming down. And now we have to tell people, get there for 9:30 when they're open, to make sure that you get a slot. So you can talk to Ailey who runs the session. And now the numbers, it's just gone through the roof because of the cost of living crisis and the advice that people are seeking.
I was going to say, have you seen a shift in, those numbers increasing since the latest challenges that people are facing? So post-COVID, cost of living crisis, we're coming up to Christmas. So we're recording this beginning of December. Have you seen a shift in people's needs, Maureen, from when you're out and about as a town councillor? Or
I think there's definitely a trend that it is going up. People are wanting advice, especially on the bills, the eating bills, the gas and electric, and not only that, they'll come in and it's the council tax. tax, any bill that they have to pay,
Managing the money.
and they're struggling. But they're coming for other different reasons as well. But that's mainly the thing that they do come for.
Yeah, that increase in living costs.
Yes,
Isn't it?
yeah.
And with Age UK then, so how are people accessing your services, Paula? How do they get to you? And is it a referral process from possibly other organisations or maybe GP practices, or is it how do people get to you? Why are they coming to you?
It's a mix of all that, really. Mostly people come to us when they're in a crisis. We've kind of got two different sides of the same coin. We'd like to work with more and more people before they get in a crisis, because a lot of the crises that we see are avoidable, or at least a lot of the work that we could do would be really quite preventative. And we're increasing that work through something called the Centre of Positive Ageing, which we're developing at the moment. And that's going to be increasingly working with individuals on the 5 ways to wellbeing, to try and help people to be more resilient. And I always say that inside I'm not quite answering your question, but I will do.
No, it's fine.
Inside every younger person, there's an older person waiting to get out.
Absolutely.
And
we're all going to get there, hopefully.
Well, hopefully, we really do want to. And so if we can help everybody access the desire to age well, then we can start helping people to think about this differently. So we're trying to do a piece of work through that, and we'll perhaps come on to this later about how we can work with businesses around developing that side of our work very particularly. But most of the people who come to us in a crisis, or they have just experienced a crisis, and that can be anything from a health crisis, a hospital admission or a fall, right the way through to a bereavement, or even something as apparently small as a neighbour moving away or no longer being able to drive. And those things are life-changing. And we've always said that when you're in your later years, and perhaps at a slightly more vulnerable stage in your life, anything like that can start you sliding down a slope. And what we try to do is catch people at the start before they tumble down. And help them adjust to the way in which life has changed. So people access our services either through the crisis route that they've been in. So we get a lot of referrals through the NHS, through GP practices. We get them through hospitals. We run a hospital discharge service, and they come to us through that. We get referrals through Connecting Care, which is a way in which health and social care have organised themselves together in the district. We're currently involved in developing the new NHS teams, community-based teams, and we'll be involved in those teams as well. But we get a lot of people who just ring us to say, a bit like you said, Sarah, I don't know where else to go. In fact, in my first few weeks working in Age UK, we used to have a drop-in centre in Bank Street in Castleford. We're going to be reopening a drop-in centre next year in Castleford, and we're looking at trying to create some more drop-in. We function in various community spaces. But in my first year there, I can remember the number of times opening the door and somebody saying, I don't really know if you can help me, but, and we always can. And if we can't help the person, we make sure that we send them to somebody who can. We do our work with people in their homes. So the majority of our work is with people in our homes. A small amount is done via telephone. But for us, since COVID really, the level of vulnerability in the people that we're working with has gone up and up and up. It's never gone back down. And as a result of that, our work is peripatetic, mostly with people in their homes. Really, we do a full assessment, and typically somebody will come to us as a referral or ringing in themselves and saying, well, I've got this problem. And typically when we get to speak with them, the problem is not the problem, and that actually when we've had an assessment with them, we can then help them sort out the things that sit behind that, and then help them get on a trajectory to being able to live better and more fulfilled lives from the stage where they're at.
Ideally, at what point should people be coming for your support? Because you said that it's often at that point where a crisis has hit, it could have been avoided. When should people be coming for your support?
Well, we are set up to do the crisis support. So when they're in a crisis, come to us for support.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. But when you begin to find life is getting a bit too much, when you begin to find that things that you used to do you can't do anymore, then get in touch.
Yeah.
When things don't seem to be as controllable as they used to be, when you no longer feel capable in the way that you did, then do get in touch. And certainly with the more vulnerable, the frailer side of older age, as soon as you feel that you're needing a little bit, you're not asking for help, you want to know how to help yourselves. We don't go in and do things for people, they end up doing it all for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the key, really. So we want to enable you to live better lives. Get in touch at any stage, really. And on this, the positive aging side of things, the trick is going to be to start thinking about aging a lot earlier, and start taking seriously some of the health and wellbeing messages are out there, and look for some of the activities, and then get in touch if you want to make a change. If you want to make a change, get in touch.
Yeah. I mean, it breaks my heart, the thought of social isolation in the elderly.
Yeah.
It's a massive problem, isn't it? And, you know, we're all in busy working households, and we've got relatives that are aging and getting to that point where they need more support than possibly we can give.
Yes, yeah.
Should families be getting in touch with you to support their relatives?
Yes, they do. Yes, definitely. Families get in touch all the time.
Yeah.
We obviously can't work with an individual without their permission.
Absolutely.
But families do refer in, and we work with families to make change as well.
Yeah.
So most definitely, definitely. And social isolation is becoming an increasing problem, isn't it? I mean, we're living in a world which is continually cutting us off from each other, and it's becoming more so, and we're seeing this in younger age groups, aren't we? So in some senses there's another problem waiting to happen, because you're seeing generations growing up being very used to not interacting with individuals, and that's going to drive forward a society where people are less and less able to read the signs of what isolation and loneliness look like. And that's really tricky. So, you know, a big part of what we want to do, we do through our volunteers, is looking out for others, making sure that we're doing the small things that make a real difference in people's lives.
Yeah. Because we talk about now how the elderly struggle with the sort of digital revolution that we've gone through. But like you said, I mean, thinking about it, that's going to become a problem of its own as future generations age, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I believe there's statistics out there showing that young people are becoming less and less able to read the signs on people's faces. They're less able to understand when empathy is needed, because they're not looking at people's faces in the way that we've all grown up doing. And if you think about that, when you've got people who are already invisible, I mean, one of the things about aging is that there is a real phenomenon of ageism in our society. People cut off when they see older people. They suddenly see people as an amorphous mass of people rather than individuals. And if we take that mentality that we're not really looking at people in the eye, we're no longer interacting with people as a norm, it's going to make older age much, much more difficult for people. And right now it's already having that effect on people.
I heard on news this morning where it said that how many thousands of people will be on their own on Christmas Day and won't speak to anybody, won't see anybody.
In fact, one of our volunteers has taken a gentleman called Jack. He's on BBC Breakfast this morning talking about isolation and loneliness, and he's blind. And as I understand it, the volunteer who's been working with him, one of our befrienders, created a Braille advent calendar for him so that he could open an advent calendar at Christmas. But little touches like that make all the difference in the world. But yes, millions of people, I haven't got the statistic at my fingertips, but a huge number of people go months without weeks and weeks without a whole month without speaking to anybody, which is really quite horrific.
It's awful,
it is, isn't it? It's so
sad thinking about.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And how it's worth thinking about how we can start recognizing that as individuals as well, isn't it? Is there someone on your street that
definitely
that
I think
you
there's
don't see?
two things. One is that make that extra effort with those individuals who you see walk past your house, live opposite you down the road. Make that extra effort to get them to know them a bit, but at least to speak to them. And the other is for yourself as you're approaching your older years. I'm 64. I take really seriously connecting with other people, making sure I go out, I do things, catching myself when I think, oh, it'd be so much easier just to stay at home tonight. It is easier, but it's not the best thing to do.
No.
Go out and do those things because they're all really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And cost of living crisis, Christmas, Citizens Advice have got a campaign that they're launching
Yeah, that's right.
very soon.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to be there
I am.
to launch that, Maureen, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, Sarah. What's the campaign about? Who's it targeted at?
Yeah.
And how can people get involved?
Sure. It's interesting actually, listening to Paula talking about, I think, the work that they do and the way that they do it, because there's so many similarities, I think, around the types of work that we do and the way that we deliver it, and then some really interesting differences as well. So Paula was sort of saying, you know, she's noticed, and Maureen as well, that people are coming with more complex issues now, certainly post-COVID, I would say. And I think certainly even in the last 12 months, what we've seen is we're probably not seeing a massive increase in numbers everywhere like we've seen at Featherstone. Although we have got pockets where the numbers have really risen that are accessing our services. And some of that is due to the nature of those places, maybe, you know, pockets where things are tougher. But what we are noticing is the increasing complexity that people are coming to us with really complex and difficult issues to unpick. And you're quite right, Paula, when you say that people come to you with what we call a presenting issue that's actually probably not the issue they really want to talk to you about. It's a little bit about gaining that trust and that little bit of an immediate relationship so that they feel that they can talk to you about the real thing. And we do exactly the same as you, a holistic assessment about all the kind of surrounding circumstances.
And it's a really brave thing to come and ask for help, isn't it?
It is. It's hugely brave. And I think particularly at the moment, you know, we've talked about social media, and I think what we haven't talked about is the pressures on young people and families.
Yeah.
It's always been, there's been the in toy to have or the in thing to have. But now kids are getting, and young people are getting bombarded with those messages. TikTok, I mean, I'm not exactly down with kids,
Neither
you know,
am I,
my
but it's
teenage
there,
kids
isn't it?
will
Yeah.
tell you. But it's there, it's TikTok shops, there's these brands you and I've probably never heard of, do you know?
And there's all these influencers that are doing exactly what they're meant to do. They're meant to influence people into buying these things.
And they're doing it so well.
They do.
And I think what that does is it puts pressure on already struggling families to kind of, if they're not careful, overstretch themselves for Christmas. And we've all kind of felt the pressure to do it.
Yeah.
So I think there's kind of a lot that we already do in terms of the work that we do. So most of our work is about basically putting money back in people's pockets. You talked about it, Maureen, about what we do at Featherstone, and that's what we do across the district. So one of the ways that we do that is through our generalist service, which is in the outreaches and in King Street as well, which is about looking at, can we maximise people's income through benefits? And I know that's some of the work that you do as well. Can we kind of, are people claiming for everything that they're entitled to? If they've got health conditions, can we look at their eligibility for disability benefits? If their kids have got health conditions, are they claiming for those? Can we look at council tax reduction, those kinds of things? So that's part of what we do, what we call income maximisation through benefits. The other side of that coin is our debt advice work. So we have a money advice team at Citizens Advice Wakefield District. We are the only FCA accredited money advice service across the whole of the district. Wow. Yeah, again, people don't know that. And we can do anything that any other debt advisory service can do, but we never charge for our services. We don't charge for anything that we deliver. So part of what we can do is we can do debt management stuff. So we can negotiate with creditors, we can help people with budgeting, we can get debts written off. And again, it's a bit like what you were saying about, a lot of people do come to us when they're at that kind of crisis point, but actually we can help before that. But to be honest, like you're saying, it's about when you're ready to do that.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
I think some people also said, I think, that they're not eligible.
yeah,
We had in Featherstone Community Centre last year, and I know Cllr Maureen Cummins, that she helped put it all out there, and we had various, I think Age UK came, and we had various people there to come, and so people could come and talk to them about benefits and what they're eligible to. And it was trying to get blood out of a stone, trying to get people to come in,
Yeah.
because I went to various groups and spoke to them, and it was, I won't get anything.
Yeah.
I've got too much pension. I've got a private pension. I've got this. I earn too much. And I went, but you don't know. You've only to be claiming one thing, and it opens so many doors for you to be able to claim anything else. So it's educating as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you're quite right, because I think people have this idea that benefits are just for people who aren't working or who may be working but on a very low income. So yes, there are benefits for that, and they're what we call means tested benefits or low income benefits. But there are other benefits, such as those for people who are disabled or sick, for whom it's not about what your income is. It's about the help that you need with daily living or mobility activities. So if you need that support, or your kids need that support, or your older relatives need that support, you know, that's something that we can look at in terms of eligibility. One of the things that we are very keen on in terms of whether it's paid staff or volunteers, it's one of the things that we train people in, is about exploring with individuals. So we're not waiting for clients to say, oh, well, I've got this or I've got that, and can you help me with it? We're actually going to do a little bit of that digging, because people, like you say, won't necessarily think they're eligible. So part of our role is to say, okay, who do you live with? Do you have any health conditions? Does anybody else you live with have any health conditions? We're not asking it just to be nosy.
Yeah.
It's for a purpose, and it's to say, okay, well, actually, you might be entitled to this, and that might mean that you're not struggling so much financially as a household or a family. So I would say most of the work that we do is around benefits. We like you, we work with the most vulnerable people. Over 60% of the people that access our services consider themselves to be disabled or to have a health condition. And a lot of the work that we do is in the more sort of the areas that have been maybe traditional industrial areas, Featherstone, Hemsworth, Havercroft.
Outlying villages.
Yeah, you're out.
districts,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who actually, that industrial base is gone now.
Yeah.
So those communities are struggling sometimes a little
That's it. I
more.
mean, with third generation from the pits closing, aren't we now? Where that legacy, unfortunately, is still having an impact on our outlying villages like your South Kirby, South Hemsall, Hemsworth, Upton, Fitzwilliam. There's still a lot of issues out there. They've got the terrible transport links that really are hindering job opportunities across the outlying areas.
Yeah, and they're contributing to some of that social isolation that you were talking about.
I think another thing plays into all of this as well, is that when people hit on hard times, people's confidence takes a real knock, and that means it's actually doubly hard. Sometimes, you know, I think people might think, well, why didn't they just do so and so? It's actually really tricky. Once you begin to feel isolated and lonely, you don't see yourself as worth having any friends or people to talk to. You know, a level of shame comes with that, and I think that plays into all of this as well. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. You know, the people, as they come to us, they don't really, you know, they don't want to ask for things. They feel that they shouldn't ask for things, whereas actually there's a lot out there that people can access, and they just don't know about it. Yeah. What
needs do you see, Maureen? How can people in communities help more generally?
Well, I'm going back like just as COVID started, a lady I knew who was a school teacher in Featherstone at the time contacted me because we were worried about the cost of school uniforms.
Yes, and that's still a massive issue, isn't it, for families?
Yeah, so we set up a uniform bank. So we've been going five year now. It hasn't always been easy. We set off in a cupboard in Church Hall, and then we quite outgrew that, and we got 2 cupboards in Church Hall. But yeah, people were really, really generous, giving us their surplus uniform. And now we've actually got a porter cabin.
Right.
Because we've grown, because we were getting more and more people because of the cost of the uniform, especially things what are logoed. Yeah, and that has been a big bone of contention. We did a piece on it at Wakefield Council through the Children and Young People Scrutiny, which I'm a member of that committee, and people are generous and will give us the not only their pre-loved, I like to call it pre-loved. It sounds so much nicer.
But that's the more friendly term we use these days, isn't it? It's not just pre-loved. It's more sustainable, isn't it? So you're not just supporting families who need it. You're not throwing that away at the tip, are you?
Exactly. And when I was mayor of Featherstone last time, I did that as my chosen charity for the uniform bank, because it upset me that we'd got children coming who didn't have shoes. And I says it'd be nice to be able to buy them a new pair of shoes and not rely on something that somebody else had wore, because we all walk differently, don't we? And if you're trying to put a pair of shoes on what somebody else has wore before you, it's not always going to feel right. So it's nice to be able to do that. But we've got people. Like we had open days for Uniform Bank, and they were stood waiting for us to open. And especially when you've got 2 and 3 children, it is an expensive item.
Absolutely. So if they can get that support, that takes a lot of pressure off them, doesn't it? At any point in the year, but particularly as we're coming up to the new school years when these things need to be replenished. And there's some kids that they've grown out of stuff, and it looks basically new, doesn't it?
Exactly. And so what became at the back of the uniform bank is we started doing as Christmas appeals. And the first year we asked for donations of toys. So we asked the community, would you buy a toy for children between so-and-so age and up to 16, wrap it up, put it, whether it were male, female, what age group it was, and they were really, really generous. And then we went out before Christmas and delivered it to people in the Featherstone area, and we've done that now for past 4 years. But this year we decided a different tack, so we thought it's like a double whammy really, because we're collecting for food bank. So instead of us giving presents out, we ask for donations of food to food bank. And we've had quite a bit given. So I think it's not next week, the week after, we will be going up and presenting all this food to food back to help as many other people as we can, because that's another thing. People are struggling. It's eating, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
And
and any way we can help. And from doing this job now for nearly 4 years, it's flown by. It never fails to amaze me how generous the people of the Wakefield District are. They really do want to help. So it's seeking out how you can support our communities who are not as fortunate as we are, and there's a lot of support needed out there, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I went down to our town council 3 weeks ago, and somebody had actually shoved an envelope through the door with £100 in
Right.
for my mayor's charity.
Yeah.
Still don't know who that came
Wow.
from, but I'm ever so grateful for that.
So if you're watching this, thank you.
Yeah,
Whoever did that, yeah.
and I've had money given to me before. People wanted to remain anonymous, and we've gone out and bought uniform for people. If we haven't got that size in stock, we will source it from other uniform banks like Tracy Morgan,
In
who
Normanton,
does
yeah.
the well one at
Well project,
Norman,
yeah.
at Normanton. Yeah, I'll contact her. Or there's April who does hers, and Donna. So we contact them, and if nobody can help us, then we will go out and buy it new.
Right, yeah.
I think it's worth saying that we have a fantastic voluntary sector in Wakefield.
Yes, we do.
And I mean, I've not really met Sarah before. We think we've met each other once somewhere, but our organisations work closely together.
Yeah.
We've all got close links into community, whether we are across the district or whether we are local organisations. But the voluntary sector in Wakefield is strong and works very well together.
Yeah.
And people really do form a safety net for people in communities and make sure that once they know about somebody, they don't fall through that net.
Yeah.
And I think that's really quite remarkable. I've got no idea how many people are involved in the voluntary sector, and then if you actually then add on to that the people who volunteer and the people who donate, it's actually a really good sense of shared ownership of the challenge of living in community.
Yeah.
And I think that's really strong in the district.
Absolutely. How can people specifically help what you do?
So there's lots of different ways. Volunteering for us is always a great way to get involved. And we've got, at any one moment in time, we've probably got 12 to 15 different volunteer roles in different bits of the organisation. And so we're always really pleased to hear of people who are skilled or who haven't or don't want to bring that skill set in, just want to come in and do something completely different. So always volunteering is great to hear from people. In terms of local businesses, which I think is probably partly where this podcast is aiming, isn't it? I think we really would like to build up good relationships with local businesses where we can ask them to fundraise for us, to give. Volunteer time is tricky if it's given as we can give on one day, because actually we need consistent volunteering throughout the year. But we'd like to work with local organisations to see if we could have weeks where we could go in, tell them about our services, have open stalls so people can come and find out about us, and then staff in those organisations fundraise for us. The other thing that businesses can do for us is look after their ageing workforce well.
Yes.
And that's really important to us. That's something that we're really focusing on now. And so that would be a major to get involved in our age-friendly workplace campaign, but also begin to think really differently about your ageing workforce. A lot of people are having to work for much longer, and that becomes quite tricky when you're living with long-term health conditions. In Wakefield, your healthy life, this is very sad, but in your mid-50s, your healthy life expectancy ceases. You can expect to start living with long-term conditions in your mid-50s. That in turn has an effect on what you can and can't do quite often. People are caring for others at an earlier, younger age. So be adaptable, be flexible, be kind to your workforce, and then you'll find you get more out of the people who are working with you. And when people can no longer do their roles, take them through a kind process, which doesn't just see them out the door, but actually helps them to find a new way to be employed. So get in touch with us. We want to work with you on this, and we want to really improve employment in later life.
And Claire Schindler from UK Wakefield comes to We Are Wakefield.
Yes, she does.
Every event. So, you know, if
we've got strong links.
Yeah,
strong
absolutely.
links,
Absolutely.
definitely, yeah.
And they can always contact me or contact yourselves directly. Sarah, how about yourself? How can businesses or individuals support the work that you're doing to support the people of Wakefield?
Yeah, so, well, again, very much like yourself, we are always seeking volunteers. I can't offer 12 volunteering roles at any time. generally speaking, we are seeking volunteers for reception roles or initial contact with client roles, so initial assessment with clients and then potentially progressing on to generalist advisor. So that's one way that people can get involved. You mentioned earlier we are launching a new campaign.
Yes.
And the lovely Maureen is coming to launch that for us in her capacity as the Mayor next Monday. And we're very pleased to host her. The campaign is called Help Us to Help More. And that is exactly what we've just been talking about the generosity of the Wakefield district and about providing that safety net, actually. So one element of that is, absolutely come and talk to us about our volunteering opportunities, because that's part of my role, recruiting and training all the newbies. But the other part of that is exactly kind of what you were talking about, which is individual fundraising, but what we really need is things like corporate sponsorship. We're looking to grow and develop our relationships with corporate sponsors potentially. Again, we can't really offer one-off volunteering opportunities, and I know that that's a great way for some businesses to showcase their kind of social mindedness, but for us it's just not.
No.
It's great for somewhere like the hospice where you can go and paint something or whatever, but for us it's not kind of an appropriate thing. So what we're looking for is opportunities to maybe sponsor some of the work that we do. Obviously it costs us around and about £12,000 a year to have an advisor based in a community like we do in Featherstone. So it's about trying to get partners to understand the value of that. What does that do? Well, actually it can keep people in work, can't it? Because if we can
get people into work,
but maintain people's health, to keep them in work healthily. People, if they're going through a crisis or they don't know where to turn, if we can put that safety net under them, provide them with the right support, they can keep going to work and doing a good job for local employers, or we can give them those skills, those opportunities, and then they're fit for the workplace. So I think it's about helping, it's about all the different partners helping each other to grow Wakefield and to make it as healthy and as well as we can do in these difficult
Definitely
times.
strengthening the corporate sponsorship model in Wakefield, I think, would be an absolutely brilliant thing to do.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's traditionally been so strong. Perhaps we've been a bit apologetic about coming forward, but I think it's absolutely, just the smallest sponsorship arrangements can really help significantly. And as you said, the sector employs thousands of people, so it's actually really building into the economy in Wakefield and making a massive difference.
And the volunteer days, like you said, are fantastic, but they don't work for all businesses as well. And it may be that businesses are looking at other ways in which they can support Wakefield and the people of Wakefield and families in Wakefield, and by getting in touch with yourselves they can explore those opportunities further.
And it's a really it's actually a very efficient way of supporting people across the district. So for every £1 that we actually get in funding, we can show over £12, nearly £13 in social value from what we deliver as a charity. And I'm sure you've got some similar figures. So it's about actually, it's really good value for money. What we do, it's practical assistance at the time that people really need it.
We've got been contacted by pharmacopleys this week who want to donate to a charity in Featherstone. And he said, Robert said that he wanted to donate to the uniform bank.
Amazing.
So
businesses are really wanting to support their local communities, aren't they? Which is fantastic. And it doesn't surprise me. We've got some amazing people, businesses and organisations throughout the district. I'm sure that after this they will be in touch. We'll tell them at the end of the podcast now as to how they can get in touch with you as individuals.
I tell you what I found really good. I was invited as mayor. Well, the Silver Sunday in Riding. That was a really good event. I found things that I didn't know about.
So much support out there, isn't there, that people are not taking advantage of. So if anybody's got people that they feel need the support as well, it's important that they encourage them to get in touch with you, or they get in touch with you themselves to find out and maybe
Absolutely.
find out a
Yes.
little bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
along
you.
today
Thank you.
and telling us more about the amazing work that you're all doing. Maureen, I know that you've been a tour de force as mayor. Thank you for everything you've done for us
You're welcome.
across the district this year. And I hope that you all have a lovely
you.
Christmas and
Thank
a
you.
very
Same
happy
to
new
you.
year.
Same
Thank
to
you
you.
very
Take care.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
I'm Claire Sutherley, Managing Director of We Are Wakefield, and you can contact me at claire@wearewakefield.org.uk or hop on the website wearewakefield.org.uk.
I'm Sarah Mitchell, Training and Business Development Officer for Citizens Advice Wakefield District, and you can get me on the email sarahmitchell@wakefielddistrictcab.co.uk or on our website wakefielddistrictcab.co.uk.
I'm Paula Bee, Chief Exec Aged UK Wakefield District. You can get hold of me on my email, paulabee@ageUKWD.org.uk. You can find Age UK on its website. Just Google Age UK Wakefield District and you'll find us out there, and you'll find us on various social media channels.
I'm Cllr Maureen Tennant-King, the Mayor of Wakefield, and you can contact me on mayor@wakefield.gov.uk.
Thanks for listening to the We Are Wakefield podcast in partnership with Podmatic.